Missy Elliott is more than a groundbreaking artist. She is a symbol of survival, reinvention, and quiet strength. Known for reshaping hip-hop and R&B with fearless creativity, she built a career that challenged every rule the industry tried to impose. But behind the futuristic visuals, playful wordplay, and genre-defining sound was a woman carrying invisible weight. Long before awards, chart-topping singles, and cultural influence, Missy learned how to endure. Her journey is not simply about success, but about persistence in the face of fear, rejection, and illness. While fans celebrated her innovation, she was often fighting battles no one could see. Her story reminds us that greatness does not come from an absence of pain, but from the decision to keep moving forward despite it. Missy Elliott's legacy is not just musical brilliance, it is proof that survival itself can be a revolutionary act. Childhood shaped by fear and survival. Melissa Arnett Elliott was born on July 1, 1971, in Portsmouth, Virginia, into circumstances that offered little safety or stability. Her early years were defined by hardship, uncertainty, and an environment that forced her to grow up far too quickly. Home was not a place of comfort, but one of constant vigilance, where she learned to stay quiet, alert, and emotionally guarded. Her bond with her mother became her anchor, a source of love and protection in a world that often felt unpredictable. As a child, Missy learned how to observe rather than speak, how to retreat inward to survive outward chaos. These early experiences shaped her emotional depth and sensitivity, even as they left lasting scars. Long before she ever stepped into a recording studio, Missy learned endurance, a skill that would later define both her life and her art. Finding refuge through music and imagination, music became Missy Elliott's sanctuary, the one place where fear loosened its grip. While other children escaped through play, Missy escaped through rhythm, words, and imagination. She performed in her room, creating worlds where she was in control, where her voice mattered. Music allowed her to transform emotions she could not safely express into creativity. It was not about fame or recognition at first. It was about survival. Writing lyrics and beats gave her a sense of agency she lacked elsewhere. These private performances were rehearsals not just for a career, but for self-belief. In music, Missy discovered that pain could be reshaped into power. That discovery would become the foundation of everything she later built. What began as a coping mechanism quietly evolved into a calling, one that would eventually change the sound and image of popular music forever. The industry's attempt to keep her invisible. When Missy Elliott entered the music industry in the early 1990s, she quickly discovered that talent alone did not guarantee visibility. Despite her creativity and skill, she was repeatedly encouraged to stay behind the scenes. Industry decision-makers praised her writing and ideas, while simultaneously suggesting she did not fit the image required for the spotlight. Instead of being celebrated as a performer, she was often treated as a resource, someone whose work could be used without her presence being acknowledged. This rejection echoed earlier feelings of invisibility from her childhood, reinforcing the message that she was valuable only when unseen. But something in Missy refused to accept that limitation. Rather than shrinking, she began pushing back creatively. Each dismissal sharpened her resolve. She was no longer willing to contribute quietly. If the industry would not make space for her, she would force it to expand, breaking through and redefining the rules. Missy Elliott's breakthrough arrived not by conforming, but by disrupting everything. Her debut album, Super Duper Fly, announced a sound and vision that could not be ignored. Working closely with Timbaland, she helped redefine hip-hop and R&B with futuristic beats, unconventional rhythms, and playful yet powerful lyricism. Her music videos shattered expectations, proving that creativity mattered more than fitting a narrow standard. Audiences responded instantly. Missy didn't just succeed, she shifted culture. Her presence made room for originality, body diversity, and artistic freedom. Yet success came with pressure. Being a pioneer meant constantly proving herself, constantly innovating. The industry that once doubted her now expected perfection. While the world celebrated her rise, Missy carried the burden of being both revolutionary and relentlessly scrutinized, a weight that would soon begin to take a toll. When success began to cost her health, as her career soared, Missy Elliott pushed herself beyond reasonable limits. Long studio hours, constant creative pressure, and the fear of losing momentum left little room for rest. She felt she could never slow down, never show vulnerability, because doing so might undo everything she fought to achieve. Gradually, her body began signaling distress, fatigue, anxiety, physical instability, but she ignored the warnings. Admitting weakness felt dangerous. Eventually, the symptoms became impossible to dismiss. Her nervous system began to falter, interfering with basic tasks and creative work. For someone whose identity was rooted in control and expression, this loss was terrifying. Missy faced a painful reality. The same drive that fueled her success was now threatening her survival. What followed was not a dramatic collapse, but a quiet reckoning that forced her to confront limits she never believed she was allowed to have. A private battle with Graves' disease. Missy Elliott was eventually diagnosed with Graves' disease, an autoimmune condition that affects the thyroid and nervous system. The diagnosis explained the tremors, exhaustion, and changes that had disrupted her life, but it did not make them easier to accept. The illness interfered with her ability to write, perform, and function day to day. Rather than speaking publicly, Missy withdrew, choosing privacy over speculation. For years, fans wondered where she had gone, unaware that she was fighting to regain control of her own body. The disease forced her to slow down in ways she never had before. Recovery required patience, discipline, and humility. She had to relearn trust in herself and accept help from others. It was a deeply personal battle, fought far from the spotlight, and one that reshaped how she understood strength and success. Loss, grief, and emotional isolation. During this period of physical struggle, Missy Elliott also endured profound personal loss. The passing of Aaliyah, a close friend and creative partner, left a lasting emotional wound. Their bond extended beyond music. It was rooted in trust, shared vision, and mutual understanding within an often isolating industry. Grief compounded Missy's health challenges, deepening her withdrawal. Creating without Aaliyah felt painful, yet silence felt unbearable. This period taught Missy that survival is not just physical, it is emotional. Loss changed how she viewed time, relationships, and legacy. Though she continued honoring Aaliyah's memory privately and publicly, the absence never fully faded. Instead, it became part of the emotional fabric of her life, influencing her compassion, her mentorship of younger artists, and her determination to protect authenticity in a business that often overlooks humanity. Reclaiming health, purpose, and joy, Missy Elliott's return was gradual, intentional, and deeply earned. Through lifestyle changes, careful attention to her body, and a renewed sense of balance, she regained strength. Her surprise appearances reminded the world of her brilliance, but more importantly, they marked her personal victory over years of struggle. By her early 50s, she reclaimed the stage on her own terms, no longer driven by fear, but by gratitude. Her later performances and tours celebrate not just music, but survival. Missy now speaks openly about listening to her body, surrounding herself with positivity, and valuing health over constant productivity. She mentors younger artists with honesty, reminding them that longevity matters more than perfection. Her story is no longer just about innovation. It is about endurance, self-worth, and the power of choosing life again and again. A legacy built on survival and truth. Today, Missy Elliott stands as one of the most influential artists in modern music, not only because of what she created, but because of what she endured. Her journey reshaped how the industry views creativity, identity, and resilience. She proved that you do not need to fit a mold to change the world. You need courage, persistence, and truth. Every beat she crafted, every lyric she delivered, carries the imprint of survival. Missy's legacy is not defined by absence or silence, but by return. By choosing to live fully after everything that tried to diminish her, she became more than an icon. She became a testament. Her life reminds us that healing is not linear. Strength can be quiet, and survival itself can be the greatest masterpiece of all.